This is a virtual reading of Conspirators, To Each His Own Agenda by Matt Gupta.
Chapter 52. The High Temple. The day had worn on into night. The High Temple had been made into a triage facility for the wounded. The battle had not gone their way, and the temple had proven to not be big enough. Given that the temple was one of the biggest buildings in the city, the message was morbid. Dervin had been placed on one of the few beds actually in the main hall. The Citadel lieutenants, who had now been made into the army commanders, were arguing with themselves about what was going to happen next. "Attack them now," one commander was saying. "Hit them now and hit them hard. We can take them in the streets." "I say burn them," another argued. "Burn them in the whorehouses and the taverns. We're safe in the city. When they're reeling, we attack." "We need to be on the offensive," another agreed. "Troop morale is beyond low, and many will defect overnight. Can we hope to destroy them?" "I would match the best in this city against any men in that army," the first commander boasted. "Are you wine-sodden?" the second argued. "The best of that army have years of experience ahead of anything our men have. Miracle tactics are our only hope in this battle." "And what do you have in mind?" The first squared up to the second man. "Poison the whore's cunts and have them kill the army." "That's one way to do it," Dervin grunted. He struggled to sit up. The physicians had done what they could, but his back had been badly damaged with the fall. There was little they could do without time. "But eventually Alistair will arrive, and we will be in even bigger shit." "Better that we defeat Faelthor here then," the first commander agreed. "We cannot fight two forces at once." "And what will we be defending?" the second argued. "A broken shell of a city. The wall is already breached and our deadline the streets. We will not survive a second clash. Traitor! Shut your cock-sucking mouth." The second man punched the first in the mouth. The Citadel guardsmen rushed to break up the fight. It caused a severe commotion throughout the temple, and the priests gave them all warning looks. The fight was easily broken up, and the two men ended up laughing away their rage. "My friends," Dervin laughed, wincing from the pain. "Let us burn the streets, use whatever we can. Do whatever we can to keep the soldiers up at night. Keep them exhausted and irritable. What men do we have to spare that would not affect us?" the first commander said. "They have more men than us. We can ill afford to split our forces." "We may even be outnumbered as we speak," the third commander said, looking around. "You saw the fighting. How many men did we kill for every one of ours lost? To call it fighting is generous." "You also saw how many of Faelthor's men were lost to the Fountain Legion," the first commander smiled dreamily. "No," Dervin groaned. "Faelthor threw those men away." "What makes you think that?" "The men on the front lines belong to House Stormworth," Dervin explained. "Stormworth is well hated in his army. Without his army, Stormworth's value in Alistair's future will be limited. Faelthor will not make the same choice twice. The men he will set against us will be the best." "Could we employ spies to poison their food and water supplies?" the first commander inquired. "What do you have against taking them on the field?" "The fact that we'd lose," Dervin answered plainly. "It's a plan worth considering. But for now, prepare the flames." "Yes, Captain," the Citadel guards all muttered in unison. They saluted and left. Dervin waved over the physician. "All right, what's next?" "Part of your back has been broken from your body," the physician sighed. "I need to put it back before you recover, or you will never be able to walk again." Dervin nodded. The pain he was feeling began to grow rapidly as he imagined what was coming. The physicians signaled 2 servants to come over and put a rag in his mouth. They roll him over, agonizingly. When he was in position, the physician felt his back and found the vertebra that was poking out. He placed a reassuring hand on Dervin's shoulder, and then, out of nowhere, he smashed Dervin in the back with a well-formed fist. Dervin screamed out. It echoed around the temple like a sick song. He kept on screaming until he ran out of breath. After that, he simply panted himself into submission. "Be strong, my friend," the physician comforted. "Try not to move until you get feeling back in your legs." The night passed exactly as planned. While the soldiers were busy with the ruins of the whorehouses and the now free supply of wine, a detachment of citadel guardsmen took torches and hay balls in wagons to the outer city. Many of them had made up a flaming pylon, which they used to throw into the buildings from a safe distance. The night had been filled with the sounds of screams and burning buildings, but the damage they did wasn't enough to break them. The flames weren't large enough to spread and were contained before any major damage could be done. By the time the attack ended, the flames were all but extinguished, but the city's skyline was again covered in smoke. Faelthor was sitting beside Turgon's bed, listening to him complain about his choice of tactics. "You should have continued the attack," he was saying. "Now they have a chance to regroup and attack us." "I gave Alistair my word." Faelthor shifted his weight from one arm to the other. "I keep my word." At that point, Gilorn entered the tent. "Kingslayer," Turgon smiled. "Please talk some sense into this man. The arrow in his balls has addled his brain." "Then it has my full support," Gilorn smiled down at him. "Ah, you traitor," Turgon sighed, resigned. He noticed the scroll in Gilorn's hand. "You bring news. Good or bad?" Faelthor nodded to Gilorn to open it. "Both." Gilorn nodded back and he began to read. "Alistair has doubled his march and will be here by the end of the day." "About time," Turgon spat. "He should have joined us at the start. Now we're already behind schedule." "Wars take time," Faelthor chewed his lip. "My friend was foolish to think he could take the harbour in a single day. The weakness of the capital has already made up for it. Any delay is correct according to Alistair's movements. What's the bad news?" "Alistair made contact with the Fountain Legion," Gilorn continued to read. "Luckily they avoided a fight, but the Legion has continued moving west. Their destination is unknown, but from them, they have been informed that Decimus has been imprisoned." "What of Callisto?" Faelthor demanded. "No word," Gilorn said apologetically. "That's good then," Turgon sat up. "If she had been executed, we would know of it." "True," Faelthor nodded. "Ignatius values the child more than her. He would keep her alive for the sake of the boy." "Does it change anything?" Turgon shrugged. "We're still attacking the city, and she's in the city. The best thing we can do is take the city quickly, ensure our best men are at the front, and secure her before the men go blood-drunk. Or we secure her now," Gilorn offered. "Take the city and leave a small segment for Alistair to take. We only need to let the enemy keep the temple or a block of streets for Alistair to take." "Soldiers will know the difference in glory," Turgon shook his head. "In civil war, the army is the most valuable thing. If the men don't respect Alistair, he won't be king for long." "Then where the sword will fail, maybe the dagger will succeed," Faelthor said, deep in thought. "Well, we have other things to worry about than the safety of one woman and her suckling babe." Turgon grimaced apologetically. "What is the next step in our game? I heard there was trouble in the city." Faelthor looked evasive. "Not trouble exactly. We give Captain Dervin less credit than he deserves. His citadel guardsmen have been rampaging around the city, setting fire to anything that moves. Thankfully, they did little damage, but the troops involved found little rest in the night. Luckily, we have others to pick from. Luck may not be on our side, my friend. Faelthor shook his head wearily. Stormworth's forces were those set against the city's defences and the Fountain Legion. They were given the revels of the battle, but we can call upon them no longer in this siege. For the sake of appearances, we will need to use another legion for our next assault. Who then? Turgon asked. Deathmarsh? Faelthor looked blankly at the floor. I fear we will need to use our own troops for the next assault. If we simply line up our allies for butchering, we will quickly run low on allies. Turgon was in agreement. Our men have been the most loyal in this campaign. It is time they saw reward for their continued devotion. Many will perish, Faelthor warned. The streets will be an even more dangerous battleground than that of the wall. The men will do as the men will do, Turgon reassured him. They are not blind to the risks. We should use the 3rd Legion. That's a Ranger Militia Legion, Gilorn reminded them. Turgon nodded, his expression serious. Our raw recruits. There are some veterans amongst them, but they are mostly men who are good for little more than numbers. Once they defeat their enemy, they will not forget the strength of steel and the warmth of blood. Faelthor agreed. Ready the Legion, he relayed to one of his aides. We resume our attack on the city after supper. That's only a few hours away, Turgon warned. These raw men will need a talented leader if they are to survive. You need to rest. I will rest when Callisto is safe, Faelthor grunted. He stood up. Ranger, he said to Gilorn, walk with me. They left Turgon to his painful stupor. Faelthor let out a long and stressed sigh. Life is too damn long. Many would disagree, Gilorn said, keeping a respectful distance from Faelthor to not interrupt his thoughts. Many don't have plans to die. Faelthor raised a philosophical eyebrow. Yet they still do. I should never have sent Turgon out there. He did what was right by him, sir. Faelthor nodded. I'm sorry that it will be your people in this next battle. My people have fought before, Gilorn shrugged. We are no stranger to war, more than the rest of the kingdom in some regards. True, Faelthor said, with a slight smile. But I want to discuss your role in this battle. Gilorn had been wondering about this. Aside from being Faelthor's banner-bearer, he had had little role in the battle. I want you to assemble 7 of your kin, the most able, sober, and moral men you know. You will need them for a delicate mission. Delicate? A rescue mission, Faelthor clarified. When we move on the city walls and make our noise, you will take your men around the wall to the far side and make your way to Decimus's residence in the inner city. For the sake of Rufus, Ignatius would not risk moving them, so expect heavy guard for those still loyal to Ignatius. What do you want us to do when we find her? Keep her secure under our own guard? No. Decimus's residence is too close to the fighting. A stray round from a trebuchet may level the building. What I have in mind is much more dangerous. I want you to take her from her husband's residence and take her and the boy to the citadel. The citadel? Gilorn asked. Won't that be crawling with guards? Faelthor shook his head. The citadel guards have been deployed throughout the city, all of them. The only men in the citadel will be Ignatius's mercenaries. Many of them will have deserted him. He employed them to rough up civilians who didn't pay their taxes. You won't meet much resistance, but still some of these men can be tough nuts to crack, so choose your men carefully. Do you know of a place in the citadel where you will be safe? Gilorn thought on this. The only places he had been in the citadel were the throne room, his sleeping quarters, the food store, and the citadel meeting area. The food store had been warm and followed a literal maze of corners and turns, so he chose that. Faelthor nodded, choosing not to make Gilorn doubt himself with suggestions. They spoke for nearly an hour as they walked through the camp, watching the soldiers ready themselves for their formations. As always, they parted and saluted to Faelthor, but they did nothing to acknowledge Gilorn aside from snide looks and mutterings. "She doesn't know my face. Will she trust us?" "You are a Knight of Seaward now," Faelthor reassured him. "Show her your title badge and she will trust you. Your relationship with her brother will provide her comfort." His tone recalled something with Gilorn. "Have I offended, General?" Faelthor looked him dead in the eye. "I will be honest. I did prefer it when you were simply my man. Now that you have ties to Julius's cause, it raises questions." Gilorn began to protest, but Faelthor cut him off with a hand. "I know you are an honorable man, and you have proven your loyalty to the cause, but you are for one cause or you are not. And what other cause am I for? That is the question, is it not?" Faelthor sighed. "In the world we live in, a potential traitor is a traitor." Gilorn knew better than to take offense at this. "But this mission won't prove my loyalty, will it?" "No," Faelthor agreed. "It will not. You will be saving Julius's sister. You may be doing it for me or for him. So what can I do to convince you?" "Nothing." Faelthor shook his head. "I trust you, but you need to be aware that this is happening. Don't try to fight it. This is the how of the world of nobility. Suspicion is the currency of the realm, and nothing will change that. Embrace your suspicion. Use it to forward your own ambition." "I have no ambition." Gilorn bowed his head. "I have everything I want already. You will support my wife and child. They will have a life I could never provide them. In return, I will do whatever you need me to do." "A good speech," Faelthor patted him on the shoulder. "But your lack of ambition is your weakness here. You have been bought. What happens when you develop your ambition and you start to want?" "You up your price?" Gilorn joked. "You will tell me when you do?" Gilorn knew the time for jokes was over. "I will. Don't take too long, lest these suspicions speak for themselves.